show. I have it on because hey, we're live. It's the Redeye Stream number 112, climate change. Yeah, okay. So I believe the climate has changed approximately 0.74 degrees Celsius in the last 100 years. But that's not fucking much. And is that man-made? Is that man-made either through cow farts because we're consuming too much meat or through your Ford Explorer? And if it is, can we even stop it, guys? I mean, come on, really. And I would like to point out by now, 2018, Florida, the Keys were supposed to be gone off the map, right? According to Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth. One of you guys want to take over from here? Go ahead.
Well, yeah. First of all, that if you read the rest of that story, what's the plus and minus for the error?
Oh yeah, it's plus minus 0.18.
All right, 0.18 or 1.8.
Oh no, it's 0.18. I thought it was 1.8 earlier too. So yeah, it's
so what you're seeing
0.74 degrees Celsius plus minus 0.18.
So what you're seeing is an estimation of about half a degree, all right, or a degree, between half a degree and a degree of supposed heat. Now, since when do we have the kind of accuracy in thermometers, all right, back in the 1950s to rely upon this kind of scale? So we're making estimates about what the heat is doing across the planet on using thermometers of dubious accuracy, all right, at a time period where we couldn't even measure certain things widespread across the world.
So we need an atomic thermometer.
No, you don't need an atomic thermometer. What you have to do is accept the fact that there are going to be variations, number one. And number two
I think it's the fact the data set is so minuscule in comparison to the age of the planet, right? Tiny. Maybe 100 or so years that we can realistically say that we've got measurements.
You're right, but let me stop you right there, because what they're going to come back at you with is this. We have ice core samples that show the climate change over hundreds and thousands of years. So we have the data, is their argument. What say you?
In which case, it happened before we even existed, so therefore, obviously, it's a natural event anyway. So that kind of kicks them in the nuts on that, doesn't it?
First of all, the ice cores are not legitimate. All right, and the reason for that is because how ice is formed. What it's formed is basically snow upon snow upon snow, basically pushing down. All right.
I thought they lived in the desert area.
Now this sounds all well and good, except for the fact that as soon as you start pushing and squeezing things, what do? You get deformation. Right. So you have no way of actually knowing how much something is deformed and in what way, because it's all ice.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can try and say, well, we're seeing this layer of dust, so we think it's okay. But you're at this point now, what you're doing is you're layering theory on theory to try and come back and say, this is what this proves. It's also been proven that the idea that the trapped gases within the ice cores, all right, the measurable gases in there, that somehow this is pristine. We know that that isn't true. We know that there are contaminants due to the variables around it, so that these tiny little gas pockets are not nearly as pristine as they were initially claimed. All right, this is not saying that mankind can't have an effect on the environment. I'm sure that we do have an effect on the environment to some extent. All right, what that extent is, whether or not we can really have the kind of effects, and then on top of all of that, are these effects bad? Is the planet, from a life-sustaining perspective, in danger because the temperature is rising?
Well, at the time that the temperature was at its highest, we had the most flora and fauna. Seems pretty good idea.
That's very true. So you could end up with more oxygen. This actually could be great for the planet. We don't know the answers to all these questions.
It's not necessarily great for us.
Why isn't it great for us?
Back when the planet was like bubbling hot?
Well, no, I mean that just means that arid regions in the Sahara, for instance, might expand a little bit, or that just means the
Well,
the
no,
planet's just going to get a little bit hotter. People
no.
might
If you
have
look at
to
it, right, the places where they're digging the oil, which are now deserts, at one point were absolutely flush with creatures that have made the oil. Right? I mean, that's how you get them.
I mean,
Compress a dinosaur for God knows how
the-
long. So that means that the warmer you make the planet, the more moisture there is in the air. So that means that those areas which are arid now, I mean, you would actually reverse desertification.
could
Technically.
In theory, that's a possibility. We don't know the answers to these questions. All right, to freak out like we're doing and saying, "Oh God, we got to stop all advancement in technology. We got to stop all advancement in everything." All right, because we're worried about quote unquote changing the climate on a planet that climate has always changed is nonsensical.
Well, here's a question: why is Greenland called Greenland? Because it's certainly not green now, is it?
Because they want people to go there.
Well, there are
advertising campaign.
Believe it or not, there's several theories. One of which is the Vikings called it Greenland because they didn't want people to know that it was actual ice, right?
They were trolling.
There is that theory. The other theory is during that time frame, it was green. They did have plenty of forests, and the mini ice age basically brought the ice sheet down and killed everything.
But surely, if you want to keep people away, then you call it, like Iceland. Pretty good indicator that it's cold.
It's hard to believe the Vikings were that worried about it, considering the fact that nobody else was sailing in there. I mean, the people were not sailing around to see where the Vikings going.
It's a real dubious one, that I've got to say.
Well, no, and I want to actually talk a little bit about Al Gore and An Inconvenient Truth itself. I believe that was a false representation of what even the scientists believe would happen. And I believe it was a money-making scheme. He owns a carbon tax credit company. He was flying all around the world to argue in favor of climate change in planes that suck down jet fuel. I mean, how disingenuous can you get? And here again, I'm referencing...
Matt, don't forget, he also bought homes on seafront. He bought seafront property.
I know, when it was all going to flood and be gone. I mean, that was short-sighted of him. No, and I am referencing all of this from An Inconvenient Book by Glenn Beck. I'm not giving his interpretation. I am sharing the facts presented on the side of the pages in the margins. So, predicted ocean level rise. A UN IPCC report in 2001 said 19 inches. A 2007 report from the same people said 15. Al Gore, in An Inconvenient Truth, 240 motherfucking inches. All right, hockey puck or not, or hockey stick or not, that dude's making shit up.
Yeah. No, that's that whole documentary, if that's even, if you want to be generous and call it that, is complete bullshit. I'm literally sitting here looking at a NASA study from nasa.gov from October 30th, 2015. A new NASA study says there's an increase in Antarctic snow accumulation that began 10,000 years ago. Skip forward. According to a new analysis of satellite data, the Antarctic ice sheet showed a net gain of 112 billion tons of ice a year from 1992 to 2001. The net gain slowed to, only meager 82 billion tons afterwards from 2003 to 2008. So fuck off. I mean, that's one thing, because in that movie, isn't there, unless I'm misremembering or thinking of another one, but aren't there pictures of polar bears standing on like these little ice caps or just kind of, fucking off from Maine?
Yeah, poor fucking polar bear. By the way, those fuckers can swim. You know that, right? Fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's not like
not only can they swim, they've been actually documented to swim up to 60 miles.
Yeah.
Now that's
it's 100 kilometers.
That's a freaking feat. 60 friggin' miles. That's how.
Remember, they've got to do a round journey. That's double that, because they've got to get back.
Well, I mean, wherever they're going, as long as they find something to eat, I think it doesn't matter. But it's not like polar bears are actually endangered. All right, everyone. They're a large carnivore. They're one of the largest carnivores on the planet, as far as land animals.
You don't fuck with a Kodiak.
Well, no, but then again, they do breed with them, and that's another thing. The polar bears are known to have bred with grizzly bears, which is what a Kodiak bear actually is.
Are you serious?
Yes.
It's a high bear?
Yeah.
And they are a massive animal, and then they just basically, you know, they're made to eat. They're patient.
That's terrifying.
Yes,
that sounds like a 1,500 pound, no, like a 2,000 pound Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, basically.
Can be, yeah. If it decides your food and it's hungry, and if you don't have a gun, if you don't have a boomstick,
there's a reason Alaska is one of the most liberal states as far as gun policy goes. I mean, hey, if I had to deal with a Kodiak, I'd want to be fucking armed.
Screw a Kodiak, dude. My father-in-law was telling me about standing at the fucking bus stop, right? And a moose walked up and fucking puffed out. And these fucking moose are 450 pounds fucking taller than you. And the fucker charged him. He was hiding behind a little fucking bus stop sign. Like that had to be terrifying. He drew his fucking gun, but he didn't have to use it. The fucking moose fucked off when the bus pulled up. But yeah, he walked to the bus stop and he got attacked by a moose. Fuck that noise.
I'm not saying that we should be destroying the environment or you know, trying to kill off everything on the planet. All right, but this idea that we can kill it off with global warming is just nonsense. It's just friggin' nonsense.
Well, like I said, if people want a reason to, you know, reduce the amount of carcinogens and things like that in the air, it should be a medical health issue. I mean, look at the amount of kids now that have to use inhalers. That never used to happen.
Well,
that's got to be a direct relationship to the amount of pollution that's out there.
I think it has less to do with the pollution and the fact that we over sanitize our areas to the point where people aren't developing their immunities. Well, I mean, one of the things that people do is when they go out to Mad Dodge's area of the world, right, is all of a sudden these people that have lived in these nice sterile environments like New York all of a sudden have hacking fits because of the pollen in the air.
Did you just refer to New York as a sterile environment?
Well, I don't know if the Northeast would be a much of a comparison, but yeah, the Willamette Valley has some of the worst air pollution in the whole fucking country, and it's not smog. It's pollen, dude. Like it settles down in that valley. The Indians called it the Willamette Valley. They also call it the Valley of Death. They called it Willamette because of the river that runs through it. But yeah.
No, it's true, because I never used to have those issues. So I grew up in the countryside, so I didn't get pollen issues. But for some reason, I've got them now. Maybe that's because I moved out of the countryside.
I thought allergies developed when you were exposed to something. You then went unexposed to something, and then were re-exposed to something.
Oh, well, that would explain it then, wouldn't it? Now I've moved out of the countryside. I'm more in an urban area. I don't have the same.
No, but just going back to Al Gore real quick about all those things that Al Gore did. But I thought, wasn't Al Gore a politician?
Yeah.
Wasn't he following the MO of a politician?
I don't care if you're a politician or not. You don't make a documentary that they show in my kids' schools because they do, and try and claim it as fact. And when it's complete. If anything, there's a tiny bit of truth, and he's inflating it quadruple the size.
Well,
like the housing fucking bubble.
Isn't that like the whole problem? Like, there's basically, I've seen so many smart folks out there literally saying this is a major issue, this is a major issue, and there's too many smart folks for there not to be any truth to it. And again, I ain't no climate scientist, but from what I've heard from many smart people on many sides, is that, well, yeah, there is something going on. As has been stated, we've only been measuring this for how many years out of the billions of years the Earth has been here? So we have a very small sample. So it seems at times an act of zealotry, many of these folks that have data, they're kind of just putting their thumb on the scale to varying degrees, and that gives fodder to the other side to be like, yeah, you guys are BSing us.
Oh, memes.
they're
There's a perfect example of when that happened. Do you not remember the expose? I think it was the East Anglia University.
Yes.
And they got caught with their fucking hands, with their hands down their pants on that one. Manipulating data.
They didn't just get caught manipulating the data. They got caught manipulating the press. All right, where they were giving information to the press and telling the press how to respond to the quote unquote climate deniers, as they love to talk about. And when one of them came back with, okay, this guy is peer reviewed, how do we deal with him? All right, they were already trying to silence anything that came out against it. And one of the questions that was constantly being asked for was, let's show us your raw data. Show it to us.
Yeah.
To this day, you can't find their raw data. And why? Because they destroyed it, and they did it intentionally. Yep. And all of this has been proven, and yet the same people who keep coming back, the IPCC, which was using at that time exclusively the East Anglia data, right? Still won't change their theories. And then you go back to, okay, what is all this hysteria, all right, come from? Where does all these dire predictions come from? Well, they come from models. And yet every single one of those models has been proven inaccurate and proven false. So we have problems here, and yet you're trying to create political policies based on this quote-unquote scientific data that develop these scientific models that we know are wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to point out, is if they're running the data that's wrong itself, if the data itself is skewed, then any model based on that data is going to be false right off the bat. And that's not very scientific, is it?
But Madodge, it's worse than that, because you're putting questionable data through a model which then has assumptions associated with it. So if there's a variation in reality from the assumptions, then it's a compounded effect. And that's why when you actually look at these models playing out, they deviate so quickly from the actual reality that we see.
So it's like putting a hot pocket in a deep fryer and then microwaving it.
Yeah, basically.
Well,
all right, I got you.
You can easily take a look at several different things. Okay, in order for the oceans to rise, in order for there to be an ocean rise, you have to have melting of the Antarctic ice. Okay, the Arctic ice melting will give you absolutely zero new ocean levels. Okay, so
wait a second. I remember that experiment in high school or middle school or elementary school.
Which experiment are you referring to?
Oh, you put ice in a glass, and as long as it's not overflowing, as long as it melts, it still won't overflow.
Correct. So the Arctic ice is
well, why don't I hear that as an argument against it? Because I remember that. That's actually one of the best arguments I've ever heard.
Okay. The thing is the Antarctic ice, you have land underneath there, so theoretically, any ice on that land that melts, all right, would be adding to the quote unquote water within the ocean. All right.
And might that have something to do with the water, the tension of the cup too? The water tension thing. It has nothing to do with that.
Wait a second, MC. Are you saying the Earth is flat?
I was thinking the same
I'm out of here, fuckers. I'm out.
It's concave.
No, I am not.
Because that actually just confused me now. All right. Now I see why people are complaining.
Can I at least ask one thing? Who's arguing what? What are we? I know we're arguing climate change.
No, we're discussing it. All of us are pretty much on the same side.
I don't mean arguing, man. I meant what's the consensus so far? I missed a little bit.
Climate changes.
I just want to be.
It's a fake. Like on Star Trek, the Romulan on Eastern side. It's a fake.
Come on, guys.
Man-made climate change is overstated, and for the most part, the data is faked.
I think it is overstated. I do believe it is overstated, but I don't believe it's totally. I don't believe that global warming is totally fake either.
Well, it's just another thing we can argue about.
This is a weird thing.
Make a bunch of money on both sides, all sides.
I think my thoughts on it are that it's just another scare tactic because the Earth has changed climates many times.
Mm-hmm. In fact, MC, I'm sure you'll remember this. In the 1970s, they were actually promoting a big freeze.
Yep. They were thinking that we were headed for now for humanity. If we do go into an ice age, humanity will suffer dramatically.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A lot worse.
You will lose arable land. You will lose food sources. Right. People will be dying left and right.
MC, you literally just sounded like the dude on one of those documentaries who is like, humanity will suffer.
If there's an ice age, humanity will suffer dramatically.
Yeah, it was out the herd for sure.
Fuck, if there's an ice age, I live in the Northwest. I'm moving to Mexico, bitches. I'm headed south quick.
Well,
dude, you go back to
border that
Russia,
Trump
then.
build will pretty much keep you out of the Mexico, so you're stuck on the side of the ice.
I've seen enough medieval documentaries. I'll build one of those big ass ladders. Me and 40 will scale the fucking wall.
Move down south that you love so much.
Yeah. Between the two of us, we could probably build it.
No, here is my. I do believe climate change is happening. I mean, not in the sense that maybe they're saying like it's going to be a catastrophe, but things are definitely changing, dude. I mean, look at the weather pattern in the last 20 years. I mean, spring isn't springing when it's supposed to spring. Fall, you know, I'm saying things are just. I mean, we are going through a climate period change, but that's not. That's not
we have 6
abnormal.
months of winter a year.
Yeah, it's not abnormal though. Look in the 1300s.
We don't have spring. Yes. Summer's 2.5 months, and fall is like 2 to 4
you remember
months.
the 1300s for like I think it was like maybe a century. Maybe it was less than that. It might have been like 75 years to a century, where weather was so bad that there was droughts and the weather changed so dramatically worldwide that I mean there was famine and I mean so climate change does happen. But like I said, I think it's a scare tactic.
Yeah, but Mole, you see, that's like we were talking about earlier. Like when, say, Krakatoa, an equivalent of Krakatoa may have exploded somewhere, which causes these sort of things.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got enormous volcanic activity, and nobody was there to see it, observe it, and document it. So we have no idea, really,
especially if
these assumptions.
Especially if it wasn't part of the civilized world where it happened at. You know, I mean, it could have been. I'm not saying that that they're any less intelligent than us, but I mean, if they had no writing system to write it down that it happened, then we would never know, you know?
Or a meteorite, God knows what, you know? There's plenty of different ways.
So I know you guys can't see the graph I'm looking at, but it's showing solar activity compared to Arctic. I'm reading it straight out of a real book.
Oh. Them things still exist. No, just joking.
I know. Solar activity and Arctic temperatures. No. Solar activity and Arctic temperatures compared, and you see that the sun went through a solar spike in the 1940s, and the Arctic temperatures spiked around 1935, 1936. They almost correlate, and they correlate a lot better than the corresponding graph next to it, which is CO2 and Arctic temperatures. Which CO2 has gradually been rising, but Arctic temperatures fluctuate all throughout the graph, up and down, up and down, up and down. So the CO2 is not necessarily corresponding with the Arctic temperatures like the solar activity is.
Well, and it would have to happen before.
See, this is the thing that really pisses me off about these, the people who go on about this, because the one thing they will not accept is that the sun could have any influence whatsoever. It's like the sun is irrelevant. The biggest source of energy on this earth, the thing that actually feeds all life on Earth, is irrelevant.
And memes. The buildup of solar activity came from the 1900s and slowly built up. So it was building up at that time. What happened is it dipped a little bit, but temperatures still rose, and then it spiked up to its peak, and the temperature was at its peak right around the same time period. Now, I wish I could share this graph. I really do.
You mean like solar? Do you mean like solar storms, solar flares, stuff like that?
That's what they mean. That's what they mean by solar activity. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and at the moment, we've been through a what is the term they use? It's not a cooling, but the sun has been.
We say El Nino here in the Northeast.
It's been high solar activity.
We go through solar maximums and solar minimums. We're approaching
minions. Release the minions.
I got a question. What do you guys think of this? You know how they like to blame our agriculture, like our livestock, on methane in the air, and that's causing greenhouse gas and whatnot.
The cow part tax.
Don't you think that there was fucking probably just as many buffalo roaming free at one time, or fucking wild cattle and wherever? I mean, wouldn't you think?
I wouldn't want to be near a Tyrannosaurus Rex when it farted.
I'm just saying. I mean, don't you think that would have been a comparable number?
Oh yeah, well, hard to say. It really is hard to say. I do understand what you're saying, but it's
population, mass, emissions. That's a whole lot of variables.
Yeah,
But
size.
I'm curious on mole, like what you think of my kind of take on it.
Okay.
So the way I kind of look at it, and for now I'll give an example of my body is Earth. Yes, Earth is like a temple. I light up a cigarette. I take a drag from the cigarette here. All right. I know that's not good for me. I'm putting a bunch of poison into my lungs via breathing. However, if I just take that one puff, I should be fine. Even if I finish this cigarette right now, I should be fine. Because my body has ways to repair itself, just like the Earth has methods of repairing itself via the oceans and a lot of complicated processes that I'm not a scientist on. However, if I do this cigarette and I finish this pack, and then I finish another pack, and I continue to do that over an extended period of time, that's probably not going to be good, and some terrible things could happen. So that's just
I totally agree. And if you do quit smoking, even if you smoked for years and years, and if you do quit smoking, eventually your body will heal itself if you stop smoking for long enough. Right?
I'm just looking at the planet as we're arguing over how many pack years the planet is in right now.
Yeah, and if people are that worried about it, then why aren't they doing something about the like planting trees? If they're so worried about CO2 and
no, Mad Dog is going to do this. He's starting an LLC, right, MD?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's a libertarian pro-tree platform.
That's right.
I'm waiting for the
I'm
tree
hoping to get
out
some of the greens to come over.
I'm waiting for you to plant the tree here in Arizona.
I mean, there's many reasons for us to go green, just besides the emissions that are put off by the fossil fuels we use. I mean, we're eventually going to use up our reserves of fossil fuels. We have to find cleaner energy.
Really? Is that why we're at peak oil production for the first time in forever?
Well,
there's reasons for that too. We're using other technologies.
I was going to say we're more technologically savvy than we were years ago as well, though.
But
we can also extract energy from a lot of other things. So.
Right, but I do disagree. I do disagree, though, that when you use the term fossil fuel, I have a real problem with that. I really do.
Okay, because for lack of a better word,
because the carbon-14 dating,
carbon fuels.
No, the carbon-14 dating that's been done, all right, belies how old the oil is, and no one's come back and rectified. Okay, what's going on here?
But there's different kinds of oil too, because you've got sweet crude and you've got the dirty stuff like the tar pits and things like that. So very different grades.
And that creates a lot of other issues. But one of the problems that I have,
I have a reliable source in Robin Williams that Raptor came back as oil.
Rob Williams wouldn't lie.
Yeah, Robin Williams is part of that oil mixture now.
Yeah.
Is it too soon?
No. He would joke about it.
Wow.
Think about it. Cemeteries are going to be worth a fortune in the future. Just give it enough time. Buy cemeteries.
Right.
They'll be pumping out oil and aluminum at the same time, or aluminum.
Right.
Oh, people are dying to get in, right?
Yeah.
No, there was a lot of theories about how carbon-14 is produced, and this is very important when you actually study, okay, how reliable is carbon-14 dating? All right. One of the things that the theory was is the gamma rays within the solar system, as it hits the upper atmosphere and creates ozone, but it also sits up there and creates extra neutrons that are basically captured by carbon-12 and so forth to create carbon-14. All right,
Mhm.
I'm skipping a number of steps, including the nitrogen cycle, etc. Right, I just want people to understand what I'm talking about. So this is why they came back with the idea of, okay, utilizing this theory, carbon-14 has been consistent in the atmosphere forever. Okay, if that isn't the actual mechanism that's placing carbon-14 in the atmosphere, all right, because there are other theories about from the radioactivity deep inside the planet are creating a lot of this as well.
Huh.
Well, at which point you've got to go, okay, you've got to question how stable is carbon-14 in the atmosphere. We know it fluctuates from time to time. We just don't know why or how per se. We've got theories.
Is that the abiotic theory for the oil, where oil's naturally created within the Earth's mantle?
There is an abiotic theory of oil.
Right.
Now, how accurate that is, nobody knows. We don't
wait.
have enough
So you're saying we have infinite oil?
No.
Well, I mean, as far as the mantle can cope with it, it takes a long time.
Yeah, the theory is
so
that the production of oil isn't necessarily due to the
dinosaurs rotting. Yeah.
Well, it's either that, because that all I'm understanding from what you said previously is we need to create the Incredible Hulk and build a black hole bomb resonator around it. And then we have infinite energy.
Oh, summon Dr. Octopus.
Oh, we would need some adamantium to hold steady.
Whether it's ambiotic or not, the ability to extract it at some point, we're going to have a problem, right? Meeting the energy needs of the planet that we're currently on with just oil, which is why people are saying, okay, we need to use another source. So, of course, the first problem.
Well, that's also smart because we're going to need petroleum for like high-tech plastics and other shit as well. Exactly. I thought the biggest thing with green agriculture, energy is where, well, no, the big thing with green energy is we're like at the cusp of it becoming extremely like much lower cost and much more efficient, like with like the buckyball.
No, we're not.
Well,
we're
not really to interrupt too much, but let me make my stance clear. When it comes to green energy, I'm all for it. Don't subsidize it. If a company comes out with solar panels that will work as a fucking road, that company will be great, and people will buy that shit hand over fist. All right,
I like that.
Let the free market handle this shit.
Solar road.
Yeah, crowdfunding too. Don't take my tax money. Don't take my tax money.
NGO, MD.
The problem with the quote unquote green energy, right, is the same problem, and they haven't solved it, and we're not even close to solving it, and that is energy storage.
Yeah,
we cannot store energy. All right, so when the sun, when the sun sets, and the solar panels aren't producing energy anymore, where are we getting that energy back from?
The power wall from Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, that power wall. To create that power
basically just
wall,
a big capacitor.
Yes, to create that power wall and keep it stable, it isn't working. All right, it leaks. The energy is not efficient. We don't have the ability to hold that charge long enough to store it.
Could we solve this with energy transfer?
Into what?
To other people where it's not sunny.
Oh well, I mean, they have played with the idea of RF.
Why would if we're transferring free energy to these people? Why are they building?
Oh no, they fucking pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be like another. It'd be like another Enron.
No, I say this because the U.S. electric grid's like what, 60 years old. You're saying we don't have any more efficiency from 60 years ago?
No, we don't.
But MC,
that's terrible.
MC, do you remember there was tests about how you could transfer electricity through RF radiation? So they're using RF and recapturing it.
But Tesla,
of course,
for free.
But the amount of
what about Tesla's power?
Okay.
Warcraft Tower. What about doing something like that?
Okay.
Sending it like a cell phone signal.
Yeah. Okay. The loss in doing that is massive. All right.
Yeah,
And
the
especially
drop-off
in
just made
heat.
it totally inefficient.
All right. So to transmit energy you've produced into RF, the heat loss alone makes it
Yeah.
inefficient. All right. Then you're going to end up with the loss when you try to recapture as well. Unlike a transformer, which is 98 to 99% efficient when stepping up voltage and stepping down voltage, you're talking about something that's maybe 40 to 30 to 40% efficient.
That's what I never understood. I mean, the calculations alone made it pretty fucking obvious that it wasn't going to work. Why did he even try it?
Now,
I mean, that's just fucking stupid.
Well,
because he had amazing photo ops.
Well, because at the time period, a lot of the quantum mechanics that a lot of the stuff we actually relies on weren't well known. Okay, so they didn't know how inefficient it was actually. And Tesla's
I don't know. If you're working on the resistance of a wire, and then you're looking at resistance of air, I mean, that should have been.
You're talking about something from the
begin with.
1919s. What they were using to measure some of this stuff was like, it was like bear knives and skins.
Yeah, fair enough.
mean-
We've already gone through that with the environment, haven't we? With their lack of accuracy. Yeah. Fair comment.
Okay, so I mean, we've expanded things. We've learned a lot. Now, the other thing about Tesla was that Tesla understood and predicted, and this is true, that there are voltage levels as you go up in the atmosphere, right? And that you could utilize.
Yeah, I want to see it.
You could if you go up 30 feet in the atmosphere, you change about 100 volts of what they call free energy. Everyone looks at it as free energy, which is true, but the amperage you
I thought
can
it was
develop.
0 point energy.
No, that's not. That's something that 0 point energy is so theoretical. It's not heavy. It relies upon dark energy and several other things.
Yeah.
So magic.
Cold fusion.
Yeah.
But
Be a better wizard.
As you go up, you can sit up there and draw this energy out. All right, it does exist, and it's being produced due to solar radiation hitting the atmosphere. However,
why does that remind me of Fluid Karma from Southland Tales? I'm just throwing that out
It
there.
reminds me of Dragon Ball Z, and Goku's charging up the Spirit Bomb. That's how it works.
now, like I said, this energy does exist. However, the voltage is not power. Voltage is only one component of power, and you need voltage plus amperage. The amperage is so minuscule that it takes a long time to charge something. Right? Theoretically, could you run certain things from it? Sure, but the amount of power you're going to get out of that energy is minuscule.
Okay, but you say that the difference from 1912 to now is so great. I got that. I'm with you. What about 100 years from today? You're saying that it's impossible that the amperage would just be too fucking low. But we could develop some technology by doing trials of this in small areas and testing it. And, I don't know, being scientists and they do their job.
You went
figuring
totally
out how to get this.
That has
You
nothing.
went totally Peterson on him then. You said so. You're saying.
Wait,
So what you're saying is,
I'm not talking about loss now. I'm talking about the amount of energy you can pull from there is minuscule. You will never be able to pull that amount of energy that resides within the atmosphere.
Why is it never? That's what I'm arguing.
Because the energy
comprehend them.
There isn't enough energy there.
That's because none of us are Goku.
I'm switching sides. Science isn't real. Fuck it.
Look, MC, if I feel it can happen,
I'll
surely
go to
it
church
can.
tomorrow, and I'm switching sides, and the Earth is flat.
No, but how am I saying science isn't real? What I'm saying is science advances. That's the difference.
No.
I was joking. I was just being a smartass. Calm down. I do have. Science ain't real.
Science does advance, all right, but you
guys
can't.
believe gravity.
But you can't break the laws of physics. You can't pull
Right.
energy out of nothing.
Right.
You gotta break the laws of physics.
Yeah, but you could take a low voltage and amplify it somehow. You could produce technology to increase
You can
what you
increase.
use out of that.
You can increase the voltage all you want. When you increase voltage, you have a corresponding decrease in amperage. Okay.
That's why the British electricity is at 240 volts.
And
That's 13 amps.
Power.
So Tesla was a fuckhead, and he's totally wrong.
Wasn't.
Right?
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Tesla was somebody that as a scientist in the 1912s was awesome. Okay.
Tesla was a trap.
But the scientific principles that he, as he understood them, wasn't fully developed yet. They weren't fully developed. This takes time, and how our understanding of power and our understanding of electricity is far greater than what Tesla was working with.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I'm just saying our knowledge will be greater later. You're acting as if this is a set in stone law.
For what I'm talking about free energy, yes, it is set in stone in law. You're not going to get any more energy out of that system. The system has only so much energy. Just like there's only so much oil in the ground, there's only so much energy in the atmosphere.
So, MC, what you're saying is we need to raise our power levels.
Well, what we need to do is find a different power source. And
yeah, that won't work. What's a different power source? Because solar, you can't create a battery good enough to hold the charge.
At some time in the future, theoretically, we'll create more efficient batteries, and then that will become more efficient or more useful.
Well, you still got the hydrogen cell idea.
Oh, I got it. No, the pyramids. They were fucking ancient fucking... power plants. We'll just turn the fucking pyramids back on.
And not only that, they'll sharpen your razors. Fucking brilliant. Multi-purpose tool.
What?
So far, all I've seen them do is sit in a desert and fucking crumble.
Because you haven't turned them on.
It's one of the claims
they last longer than our roads.
Someone get a hold of David Icke. I need to find out how to turn these fucking things on.
Mad Dodge, when you find the ripcord that you can start pulling it like a lawnmower, let me know.
Right?
Yeah, okay. I'm being sarcastic, but what I'm saying is what other source do you foresee actually using? Because nuclear, people aren't going to accept it. They're not. That is the best source. I'm using my sarcasm and bringing up bullshit just to prove a point here. What are you actually going to use?
What you're looking at in the future, going forward in the future, is you're probably looking at low pressure salt reactors with thorium as the base.
Yeah, that would work.
Well, and I have an answer too.
What about
Oregon State University? No, Oregon State University, off the coast of Florence, has these buoys that create power generated from the waves. That's fucking that's genius, and it's working. It's it's only a test, but it's working.
But Mad Dodge, one of the problems that they have with this, and we had it. There's already been one that was demonstrated. It was called the Snake or something up in Edinburgh, and the problem was it changed all of the tidal currents. So it's a closed system. If you take energy out of it, it's going to change. So you have nobody knows.
Cabbage. I know from Bill O'Reilly for a fact that the tide goes in, the tide goes out, never a miscommunication.
One knows.
But
you can't explain that.
Seriously, I mean, like if you were to put one of those buoys, like systems across, say, the bottom of England, we would go back into an ice age because we depend on the currents coming up from Africa.
That's why the weather's so screwy in England, because the warm fronts and the cold fronts meeting each other.
Exactly, and you fuck with that at your peril.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
small changes make huge changes. You know what I mean?
They haven't noticed any difference off the coast in Florence, but that's interesting.
No, that's the whole point. It won't happen. But it won't happen in in 1 year or whatever. But it'll be a cumulative process, like we're talking with the cigarettes and stuff. It's not one pack that does it; it's the 1,000 other ones they have after.
They've been running this program, I believe, for 5 years now, 5 or 6.
Right. What's the power output from that?
I don't have the numbers in front of me. If you want, I can Google it real quick.
Okay.
I bet it's powers.
I think that what you'll find is that it's on the small scale, like they're doing. They're generating maybe a megawatt, all right, which is almost nothing. All right, if you're really going to do something, no, it's not. Okay.
1.1 gigawatts. You're not going to be able to time travel on that kind of thing.
I got a question for you guys. I think I'm onto something here. Is it just me, or if we went back and watched every Redeye, I bet you at least once Mad Dodge would say something about taxes or stealing. How much you guys want to bet? If we went back and watched every one of them, he would mention it at least once.
That's probably true.
Can't at the moment because it's robotic.
Yeah. No matter what we're talking about climate change. He brings taxes up.
But let's face it, there is a good reason for that because of tax credit. These, the carbon taxes. So I mean, you can't keep out carbon tax. The debate on climate.
I just like giving him shit about tax.
All right, is that better?
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, why rather than a carbon credit? Why don't you just do a carbon coin?
Well, and then you can blockchain it. Well, I think it probably is. I think I heard about that on.
If you're going to go to the point of grabbing carbon like that, you can at least turn it into freaking graphene or carbon nanotubes and get something.
No, I'm just saying monetize in a free market way so you can just avoid something to argue about. I know it'll give us less to bitch and complain about, but it doesn't solve like an actual problem.
The question, well, it does it or doesn't it? I mean, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, but it's not a very efficient greenhouse gas. Yeah. Actually,
methane is better.
Ozone
is great.
Methane is better, but so is, believe it or not, water vapor. Water vapor is a major contributor to a major carbon greenhouse gas. So if there's a lot more carbon or a lot more water vapor in the atmosphere, they estimate that things would significantly increase. And this is where a lot of the models that they have for the current climate models break down, because they overestimate the amount of water vapor that's being pushed into the atmosphere.
And the thing is, though, MC, right? If those models were actually true, you put more. I mean, effectively, we'd be covered in cloud. That would, and look at the UV effect that would have. So the actual planet would cool. It would have a cooling effect. It wouldn't have a heating effect. There are people that say that there would be a massive increase in the reflected radiation back into the space that wouldn't actually be stored on the ground. That is true. We don't know. See, there's too many things about these systems that we don't know. The Earth is a closed system. We understand that. The problem is... Well, one thing I can guarantee you is I live in England. When it's fucking cloudy, it's cold. Okay?
Yeah, but clouds don't block UV rays.
UV ray, but they do reflect other aspects of the power.
Oh yeah,
the energy that's
I get behind that.
All right. They were generating enough power to power 20,000 homes, so like 20 or 30 megawatts.
Yeah, but was that European homes? That's not American homes.
That's American homes, and it was in between Walport and Newport. So
okay.
But yeah, I have in the side chat. I have the link for when they first submitted the application. Not an updated one. But
I hope there is a bunch of marine biologists and marine scientists who are keeping an eye on the ocean currents, because you can't take energy out of the system without changing it. So it just can't be done.
I'm not saying that we're not all scientific and stuff, but I know some actual scientists. If you'd like me to give them the link.
Like marine biologists, or
I do know a biologist, and I know scientist Mel, who is also has biology background.
Doesn't matter. We all like science.
Yeah, but they're very sciencey.
Because, like I said, the thing is, I mean, it's not just about changing the current. I mean, the currents will say cool off one side, heat up another, whatever it happens to be. So you're going to actually have an ecological modification too. In fact, there was a study done on wind farms, and they found that the microclimates, there was an effect within the local region because of the effect of the big turbines, which of course it will do. I mean, why would anyone be surprised that when you change the airflow, that you're going to change the climate in the local area? And nobody knows how all of these things are going to combine. So people are going to be very careful when they think that we've got a solution to something.
Right.
We need to find something a little bit better than just fucking with, you know, especially if it's a climate issue, right?
Yeah.
If it's meant to be about climate, you want to try and protect it.
But you have to actually research and develop it to
Mad Dodge, there's an issue here that you're not going to like. Because notice it says 20 wave energy converters with peak capacity to generate as much as, which means peak capacity means you're not
and
generating.
That's not updated. That's not an updated one. That's the first article I can find, and my mic was already messing up before.
But
so
you got to remember,
I grabbed it.
This has the same problem as wind. This has the same problem as solar. All right. When the energy you're generating is there, great. But what do you do when that generation goes down? What do you do when you're not generating that much?
We take advice from Mad Mole and we burrow into the ground.
Well, why can't you just hook these things up to the grid? That's what they're already doing, and then you're using the electricity as it comes
but the
in,
grid is
with the wave system here.
But it's
but again, that's the point, because you have to store it at some point for the time when it's not wavy. You know, when you haven't got white tops, you know, you can't rely on it being a consistent.
You don't rely on one. You don't rely on one.
No,
source.
I agree. Yeah, and this is why it's better to use multiple types in different ways that are most appropriate.
But you still run into the problem of storing the energy.
Yeah, and you also have the problem that people just don't want to get is, you know, that it is going to have an effect. So the people who are talking about energy in a climate context is going to hit the problem that anything they do is going to affect the climate. It's going to affect whether it's ocean patterns, whether it's, you know, micro
that is something else that I haven't talked about. You are correct. You are very correct, Cabbage, in that if you want to use solar, for example, right, where we're going to generate electricity out of this rather than the kind of heat energy that solar is going to heat up, then you're going to be denying areas that heat energy. All right, so it's going to have an effect at some point on the weather. Right? Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah, and wind turbines kill birds. But I mean, if we're using
that was a fraud.
No, they do.
If we're using electricity and we're going to continue to do so, and we're not going to go back to the 1800s, then we're going to have an effect on the environment. We're going to make the world our own, so to say. And I believe human beings have done that since our very existence. We created fire. We chop down trees. We build ships. That's what we do. And I'm sorry, but it's going to have an effect, and we're going to have to deal with said effect. What we need to figure out, though, is are we going to fuck it up so bad to where everybody dies unless we're a multi-planet species? We don't want that, but we are going to have a certain effect. We can't be perfect, all right? Maybe some polar bears are going to die. I don't care.
The thing is that population growth has always been a function of abundance, right? So it only happens, like the reason that we went from, you know, 1 billion up to 7 billion is not a coincidence. It just didn't happen because people got frisky, right? It became more feasible to support that many people because of scientific changes, right? That's how it is. You know, like the the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, you know, inventions of things like penicillin and all those sort of things provided for the opportunity. But if you don't have any major change, then you're going to end up plateauing because there will be a finite capacity.
Yeah, well,
again, it's a closed system.
Well, Mole, what power source would you think we should lean more towards? Because everybody agrees coal is not the best way to go forever.
I was thinking maybe we could, with the unemployment the way it is, we could create giant hamster wheels ran by humans, and then we'd have jobs and energy.
No. Why don't you put that in gyms and like hook the bikes up to it and stuff?
There you go. That's a good idea too. Like, what do they call that? That runs the fucking headlamp on a bike. What like the kinetic energy or whatever?
They're generators. They're small generators.
Yeah. And so what do you?
Guys, this is exactly one of the episodes of Black Mirror. That's what they did. They had people running on treadmills and stuff, generating power, playing video games while they were playing, while they were having to run to generate electricity.
Hey,
the thing that they were running
it built
game.
cathedrals that are still around. It must have worked somewhat.
Dude, video games that mine Bitcoin.
Yeah, I ain't fucking go.
All right, 40. Do you have a real idea, or is it more hamster wheels?
To be honest, the best thing we have is totally oil. Like, I mean, we really don't have anything that is easy to take out of the ground and just as effective. I mean, solar, yeah, I have heard recently of some advancements in terms of solar technology, but they're nothing, let's face it, I mean, it's nothing that's going to make it feasible within the next 20 to 30 years.
I don't know. I think people are missing an idea here. I mean, say, for example, you got Yellowstone Park over there, right? Massive caldera. People are always freaking out about it exploding. Yeah, I mean, geothermal.
The last Redeye we had about that, we like freaked out on it. But go ahead, Cabbage.
But but this is the thing, right? If you could power the whole of the whole of that region. I mean, from not coast to coast, but obviously because of the transfer issue. But you'd be able to provide a massive source, and it would be so simple. I mean, it's it's no different than a hydroelectric. Apart from the fact that you're using superheated steam that comes up.
Apart from the fact that you don't have any water in that area to do that with.
Oh yeah, but if you were to pipe an amount to put in a reservoir,
you'd blow up the whole Pacific Northwest.
No, you wouldn't. That's the whole point. No, this is the point. Because you're taking heat out. You're taking heat out. I'm not saying you'd actually fucking, try and do it on the middle of the caldera. I'm saying you ring it and you take the heat out. So you're actually cooling the caldera. So it would actually be beneficial in terms of, trying to reverse a potential explosion.
We could, or by drilling into it. It just it reminds me of drilling into a sleeping Godzilla in order to harness the radioactivity. It just sounds
like you don't do it that close. You do it at a distance whereby you can actually gain the heat transfer, but you don't have to risk any. Anyway, you're only talking about a pipeline. It's not like we're talking about, an atomic bomb going off.
They're talking about freaking droughts in the United States where we're not putting pipelines in. You think they're going to be able to do that for power generation? I don't think that. I don't think.
Well, I tell you, if America wants, I mean, if you're looking at as near to renewable energy as you can get, that's the way. Or if you don't want to go that way, then you've got to go for hydroelectric, because that's a fucking brilliant solution. Hydroelectric is massively efficient.
Every time we put up a hydroelectric dam, out they come. Out they come. Where's your environmental impact study? Oh, you're killing the snail darter.
The snail? Fuck that little fucking bastards.
When somebody think of the snails.
Well, to be honest, I feel the same way about nuclear. I feel the same way about nuclear energy. Like, to be honest, I don't know why we don't use that as much as we should be.
I agree, but I don't think you're going to get it pushed through at this point. After Fukushima, everybody is fucking walking on eggshells.
Yeah, but you've got to remember, Fukushima was a shitty plant to begin with. I mean, it was running off old technology. It wasn't like it was a new, top of the range, with all the knowledge we have now. I mean, relatively speaking, it's pretty crap. It's like Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. They give it all a bad name.
But it has the same effect. People sit up there and created these things. Everyone was all for nuclear power. Then they all put a stop to nuclear power because they all freaked out about it, waiting for the accident to happen. And at the same time, knowing that they needed that energy, they kept relicensing the reactor, even though it was close to twice its expected age.
Yeah, exactly. We got the same thing with Sellafield over here. And don't forget as well, Fukushima, of all the places to build something, you don't do it on a fucking fault line. That's pretty damn stupid.
Well, the fault line wasn't the problem. The problem is you built it on the ocean. Why the hell would you frickin' build it on the ocean?
You know what I mean? It's just so many bad decisions that go around it, which is, it hasn't got anything to do with the technology. That's just bad fucking architecture or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Well, let's be fair to the Japanese here. Where else are they going to build the fucker?
Yeah. Well, they had to build an airport off the shore, didn't they? They had to reclaim. They cut a mountaintop off.
Why didn't they frickin' after its lifespan, its expected lifespan was up 20, 30 years ago. Didn't they shut it down and build a different one that was better?
Wait, so it's a maintenance issue or an actual site issue because people were cheap?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's age. It's just things age and they become, you know.
But it was
unserviceable.
obsolete, but we didn't want to spend money to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Right, because
That's right.
because the cost now to upgrade it because of the environmental impact studies that everyone screams about becomes
Health and safety.
overly significant.
Fucking hippies.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is the fighting led to tragedy rather than actually solving a problem.
Well, yeah.
Well, but they have
magnified the problem to where you have what it is, what happened today.
Yeah, but they have those cool trains that fucking, you know, hover.
The bullet train. Trust me,
cool.
the bullet train is not good. I know somebody who's been on it. He said it was fucking hideous and it stank.
Well, I don't care if
just
it's
a monorail.
stinks. I don't care if it stinks.
Monorail.
I want to hover
Monorail.
like fucking, I don't know, Back to the Future 3 or something. Sounds cool. Those hoverboards are bullshit. It's not a real hoverboard. It doesn't hover. Fuck
It's
off.
fine as long as you're on a copper surface. It's the only time it works.
Well, as long as you got a copper surface and a superconductor that's liquid cooled.
Yes.
With a
Super
liquid
cool
hydrogen
before you
or,
try it.
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen. Yeah.
But no,
I mean,
if any president was going to finally say, fuck off, we're building some nuclear power plants, it'd be the current president. Why isn't he? He put a fucking idiot in at the EPA, I thought, to shut the fucker down. Like, what happened?
Oh God.
Yeah, they put a guy in to actually get rid of his own job.
He
That's
put
really
a
good
guy
idea.
in that proposed closing the the Department of Energy, and that was the one department he forgot to list in the debate.
That's right. Yeah, that was embarrassing, wasn't it?
Oh,
That
it was done for
funny as
memeable
hell.
purposes.
That was fucking hilarious.
It made
Oh,
sense
yeah,
too,
it was
because
great.
no, he was governor of Texas, like one of the largest energy states
No,
in the country.
did you-
So
no,
it made
I love-
sense, and it was super memeable.
I think
I
he's
loved
talking.
Rand
I don't think he's
Paul.
talking
I
about.
loved Rand Paul at that debate, though. Rand Paul just smiles at him. Which one? What's the fourth?
Close them
And
all.
he
What
taps
is
him
it?
on the
Come on.
shoulder.
Yeah,
Or Ron's like, I'll help you, all of them.
and Rand Paul lasted how much longer than him?
Hey, Ron. It was Ron, not Rand.
Okay, how
But,
long?
yeah.
How much longer did Ron last?
Ron was all the way there till the convention, sir.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was, and he
Not
got
as
zero publicity. He got nothing. I've got to say, I thought he was
and
treated really badly.
how many votes did he have?
Are we gonna start yelling again? I don't want to test my new mic out that much. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know if it's ready for that yet. Let's go back to climate change and energy.
All right, there are certain technological issues that have to be solved with a low pressure thorium reactor, but they are at least the theory is to fix those is already exists. It's just a matter of the engineering now. All right, so
MC, what's that thing about helium-3 or something? You know, isn't it? They found something up on the moon or whatever that they want to mine.
they think that they can create water because of that. That has more to do with the fact that you'd have water on the moon than anything else.
No, it's for energy production.
Well,
it's like
It was like a Xenon 3 or something like that.
there's a. I'm sure. I think it's helium.
Yes, it's helium-3, and they're talking about using it in a fusion type of reaction, but we don't have fusion reactors running right now, so that's all theory still.
But
that's
Elon Musk said that he wants to go and mine it, so he can bring it back and we can try it out.
Elon Musk is like fucking super
Elon
fucking.
Musk is living off of the tit of the government and wants to continue to suck freaking money from it.
You know what? If the man's making flamethrowers and shit, I don't give a fuck.
He's not making flamethrowers. He's making freaking ugly ass cars on everyone else's dime that only the super rich can afford.
You're mad about the car? I don't even worry about the car. I'm like SpaceX and all this shit.
Yeah, what about SpaceX?
SpaceX?
SpaceX sits up there and does what? Sits up there and takes rockets and money from NASA's budget.
NASA won't even build its own rocket program. Fuck them. Why not a private company do it?
But they have cool live
because
streams.
it still comes down to the same
see
thing.
shit
You're
blow up.
spending government money. He's living off of the government.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Look, who do you think that is the biggest contributor to the space programs? It doesn't matter whether it's private or public.
I'm tired of paying Russia. I'm tired of paying Russia. I'd rather pay Elon Musk.
That's fair enough.
I mean, if I have to choose which one I'd rather pay,
I'd rather fire every stupid son of a bitch in NASA that has gone into this green energy shit that has gotten freaking astronauts killed because of their own stupidity, and put a real scientist back in charge of the damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they shouldn't have charged. Maybe they shouldn't have charged the government $500 for a fucking hammer. You know, that might have been a smart move.
I'm sorry, I
had nothing to do with going, you know what? The glue on the tiles it could be considered a carcinogen, so we got to find a green glue for the tiles of the space shuttle.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm totally
talking about a hammer. I'm talking about a hammer.
Wait, that's why the heat shielding came off?
Yes.
Oh,
wait.
Oh, is that true?
Did that kill the teacher from
yes.
Are you
what?
Look it up. You guys think I'm joking. I'm not joking.
Why is that? Why did I never hear about that? What the fuck?
Are you kidding me? Or we're going to admit that we killed astronauts because we wanted to be green?
Yeah, it's not exactly a publicity plan,
No, but I watch a lot of alternative media. I never heard that shit.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That is a total new one on me.
Yeah.
I like to think I've got my ear to the ground.
Look it up. You'll find that the reason that the shielding of some of these things have failed is due to the fact that
this is better not turn. When I do this search, I do not want to see David Icke.
A big old lizard person.
Okay, who's David? I don't know who David Icke is.
Oh my God, you need to look up David Icke. He's a god amongst men. Oh my.
I'll tell you later.
I met him, by the way. He lived near.
I like whispered that to my daughter. She asked who gave me the mic. I'm like, I'll tell you later because we're live. I'm trying to be quiet and not mute. Damn, this mic picks up everything. Fuck.
It does. It's quality. That's the cost of quality.
Yeah, a horrible idea.
But no, I did. I met David Icke on. It was in the Isle of Wight. My uncle lived about 3 doors away from him in Newport.
I can't believe you met David Icke, dude.
Yeah, I was out on the beach.
Awesome.
He was walking his dog.
Did he call you a lizard person?
He was actually a really nice guy.
Are you one of the lizard people?
Apparently not.
Ah,
he didn't see he didn't see my double lids. I wouldn't let him.
You didn't stick your tongue out at him and show him your tongue.
Yeah. Dirt your tongue.
You didn't try to taste his heat.
Oh my God, I watched a video once of this lady saying she was a fucking lizard person, and they're like trying to say yeah, it was on Jesse Ventura's show.
Oh my
and they're
God.
trying to say that she was a lizard person and her eyes change, and I'm watching, I'm looking at her eyes, I'm like, no, she's squinting. Like, no, her eyes aren't changing. The fuck's wrong with you people?
Jesse Ventura's show was good for a minute, but then he was scraping the bottom of the barrel. You know, it's that, or you know, aliens abducted me and I have 6 alien kids. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that one too.
Once he went past Plum Island. You remember the Plum Island one?
Oh yeah.
That's when I think. Yeah, that's when I think it went tits up.
I watched like every episode. I liked that show, but no, not. I don't even know. If he's doing it now.
A sportscaster stood up there and went off the deep end. That's who David Icke is. Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, no, actually, the weird thing is that what he said there was an original interview on BBC. It was a guy called Terry Wogan who interviewed him. And he said, if, you know, there was a comparison that was being made. And he said, if that's the case, then I'm the Messiah. You know, because I could make the same fucking claim. And of course, that's what pissed people off. And then he got, you know, lambasted for it and his career ended. And then he suddenly came out with fucking lizards. I don't know what the transfer was between these 2 points, but at some point he lost his shit.
Was married to a woman for 30 years, got a divorce, and before the year was out, he married his new wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, efficiency.
Well, guessing an affair.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I was gonna say he was married for 30 and having an affair for 10, and the fucking mistress was like, "No, you either fucking put a ring on it, or I'm gonna fucking let this all out."
How so he divorced his wife and remarried.
Although, having said that, if you look at his, he did one of his lectures in Wembley. Have a look at that. I mean, it's like, Wembley Stadium is fucking massive. You know, to fill that place, and it was filled to the rafters. That's quite an achievement. You got to dilute a lot of people to achieve that kind of. And he also had his one of his sons. You know, was playing guitar, and they had music too. You know, his son's band.
Well, speaking of lizard people, and to try and get us back on track, what about Al Gore, really? I mean, come on. He made a shit ton of money off not only the movie, but these carbon credit things that I guess I'm going to set up a company and start planting trees. It'll be fun. I mean, what about Al Gore? Doesn't some blame here should be put at the feet of him when every prediction he ever made was proven false, and he's still making money off of the whole idea of climate change now, since global warming didn't really happen. So, we changed the name and keep the same game going.
It's his consolation prize.
If being proven wrong means that you don't have a business, the news wouldn't exist.
It's a valid point.
Seriously.
He's got a valid point there, guys. But no, he deserve sanction for it? Does he deserve ridicule? Sure. But are you ever going to see a leftist outlet sit up there and ridicule Mr. Al Gore, the quote-unquote self-proclaimed savior of the planet?
No, but fucking
Captain Planet himself,
Al
Gore.
South Park did a number on him, though. Man Bear Pig, that shit is some of the funniest shit ever.
Man Bear Pig is pretty funny, but that's not. If you think that people even look, I mean, between him and his wife trying to ban freaking video games, I mean, what do you expect from these people?
Wasn't that the same as like Laura or Barbara Bush?
No.
Well, yeah, to me it is.
Why?
The Just Say No campaign failed completely.
That's a drug campaign, and it did during that time frame.
Just
that
Say
campaign,
No.
they can prove that drug use went down. So was it horrible?
I believe the drug war was horrible. So yes, but we were, once again.
Yes, but also, how about the the policy Giuliani with the broken window policy that he did. Later, when they did the statistics, it was actually down to the reduction in the number of. Somebody made a good argument. I think it was Malcolm Gladwell, and he's a fucking liberal Jew, but. But the statistics, again, you got to look at the data sets, and the amount of people who might have been born who would otherwise be criminals weren't, and so the crime rate went down. So make of that what you will.
But I mean, okay,
because of abortion, the introduction of abortion.
We're just gonna let it go, though, that Al Gore made a shit ton of money off of fabricating even a flat out lie to begin with. So he took data that was tampered with, and then he inflated it by 10, and then presented that as fact. And they still show this in children's schools.
How about we arrest Hillary Clinton first and put her in jail before we worry about Al Gore?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I mean, Al Gore, surely what he's done is being a good opportunist. Isn't that what it means to be American?
Well, he's a flim-flam man, but he's not. He's not as. It's not as corrupt as Hillary Clinton and her cabal.
Oh,
the Bill Clinton.
Undoubtedly.
I have the chat open on my phone here, and Captain Colepile's in the chat. He says Macron spoke to Congress and said we need back into the Paris Climate Accord. He sold him. So yeah, Cap is sold on it. I guess it's sarcastic, but you know what I mean. What about the Paris Accord? Yeah, we never even got to that. And it seems like we're winding down, wanting to move on. But let's talk about the Paris fucking Climate Accords, MC. Come on,
the Fleece America Accord. Let's fleece Americans, make America pay for all these people that are polluting the world because they've got to learn how to be good little citizens of the world, and it's going to come out of America's pocket. Screw you.
You got to subsidize China and India. You got to make sure they got enough coal-powered.
Yeah.
Screw you. Let them fix their own frickin' cesspool of a city. When they can fix Beijing on their own, they're the world's biggest economy, according to all these frickin' little leftists. Let them fix Beijing then. We don't need to do that either. If you're gonna bitch about throwing some missiles in Syria, but you're gonna say, well, let's transfer how much wealth to frickin' China, screw that.
Well, could it be one of those things with the Paris Accord? What was the Paris Accord? It was a non-binding agreement. So by backing out of an agreement that was not actually holding our feet to the fire per se, in words we were supposed to, but again, it was non-binding. I mean, could that not be seen as a negotiation?
No, the non-binding part wasn't how much America was going to pay. The non-binding part was what other people had to do to get our money.
Oh, that should be binding.
Well, no, and here's the thing I would like to point out when it comes to actually helping to improve pollution and all that. So, you know, it shows by example. So the United States and England during the Industrial Revolution put out massive amounts of pollution. They did. It's a fact. But as we modernize, the pollution level comes down. And then our living conditions increase. And as that happens, we care more about pollution. And guess what? We clean it up. The pollution levels drop. So these third world countries coming into the modern era, coming up to par with us, are going to have the same fucking process, people. So wait a little bit. And if you really care, rich bastard, go down there and improve it.
And see, do you not remember a few years ago that, you know, Mexico was suffering the equivalent of what we had, I think it was in the 1940s, 1950s, where, I mean, everyone had a, coal fireplace in their homes. And the smog, I mean, it killed thousands of people. You know, be it way before the, like the smog of the 1970s in California. It's not like these are new fucking experiences. We didn't export it. You just made your own. Don't try and blame us.
I don't know if that was happening so much in Mexico. I know Korea had.
No, in Mexico, because Mexico City is in a valley. So
yeah, but how it never gets
there's
cold.
nowhere for it to go. But there's nowhere for the smog to go. So it accumulates.
Well, that's true. I mean, yeah, the smog, but it wasn't because of people's home appliances.
No, it wasn't. No, that was because of transport and everything else. I mean, there's loads. I mean, it was still a production of these particulates that were creating smog. I mean, whatever they came from, whether it's factories or bakeries. I mean,
no, you're right about that. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
But that's my point, though. If Al Gore wanted to help, he would have took all this money and he would have went and bought some companies up and modernized them in third world countries and actually started to improve that standard, and then the pollution levels would drop. But that's not what he wanted. What he wanted was to line his own fucking pockets. And that's a problem. It's a problem when you lie to children to achieve it. If you want to make a fucking documentary like Michael Moore, go for it. Have at it. This is America. But you're showing this to my children and telling them it's fact and have them coming home talking to me about the poor polar bears and the melting ice caps when the ice level has increased for the last 10 years.
Al Gore wasn't the one putting that to your children. That was your own teacher, Judy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You remember Maddox, when the Canadian girl just tried to show, to her students a portion of a Jordan Peterson, and what happened to her? So you actually try to go against the grain, you're in deep shit. You effectively cut your own throat.
What do you think, 40? I saw you unmuted finally.
I mean, you mean like specifically about the documentary?
Either the documentary or the way, you actually advance. As you advance into modern society, the pollution levels will drop. And we've shown that in both the United States and the UK after the revolution.
Industrial revolution, yeah, because we had to, because we know we didn't want to poison ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just that's also it's a side effect of technological advancement as well. You know, just talking about generally speaking, talking about cars. I mean, since the '60s, you know, drive a car from the '60s, for instance. You know, it's not called a gas guzzler for no reason. So it's more economically efficient. You know, the engine is more finely tuned. You have electronic components that can actually regulate how much fuel goes into the engine rather than just, you know, a bunch of vacuum tubes and whatnot. So cars get more efficient, factories get more efficient as they switch over from, you know, the ye old steel production of, you know, shove a bunch of coal and shit. And, you know, now we're using robots to manufacture goods, you know, at least in first world countries, that is. So, I mean, it's a side effect of we need to improve. God, it's going to make me sound like a liberal, but we do need to improve on creating a globalized economy that can make these poor countries more rich in order to improve living conditions and thus spur technological advancement.
Well, no, you see, this is the problem.
No, that sounds like
they're not doing
Marxism right there.
Well, no, but this is not what's happening. It's like MC was saying earlier on, is that everyone has to subsidize somebody else's you know, misuse of technology. There are plenty of other cleaner technologies that could be utilized. Right?
Yeah.
Well, no. The reason why I say it's Marxism, it literally sounds like a post-scarcity thing, except we're talking about technology in this case. Once, like 40 was saying, as things kind of start to improve technological-wise, it makes more sense to use a lot of other alternatives that aren't necessarily putting carbon into the air and shit like that. So that's literally the whole communism just should happen naturally via once you achieve post-scarcity. So once we achieve post-energy, it's kind of sounds like the same thing.
Well, I mean, not even necessarily post-energy, but I mean, when you have a thriving economy that, you know, has thrived under capitalism for how long have we been a capitalist country? You know, 200 some odd years thereabouts. You know, when you've been a capitalist country for so long, you've accumulated so much wealth. You can't afford to subsidize things. Doesn't mean you should, but you can afford to make advancements in these technological realms.
Yeah, well, that would be fine.
The solution.
Okay,
well,
so it was America.
Well, I kind of agree.
If it was America saying we are going to sell you technology.
The only way I agree with 40 is these people that donate to Al Gore or buy up the carbon credits, all these rich individuals who really want to do something and they have the money to blow it on, they should go help these people, not the United States taxpayer. Yeah, the private people, private individuals. If you can crowdfund a MMORPG, then you could fucking crowdfund helping a fucking poor
You can crowdfund anything. Wait, what are we crowdfunding?
Oh, that was a fucking good analogy, mate. I gotta keep that one. That's a keeper.
You like that? I don't know. I don't know if you're laughing at me or with me.
No, with you, mate. Absolutely with you. I assure you. That's fucking brilliant.
No, that's an excellent point. I mean, they a lot of these rich people, to be honest, rather than buying carbon credits, they'd be better off investing their money in some kind of technological program in a third world nation, right? You'd probably reap the rewards of your dividends much greater, and also it would also help advance this fucking third world country that's suffering. You know, the untold advancements could be made worldwide if you would just stop doing economic virtue signaling versus just actually investing money into a country, reaping the returns, and also the living conditions improve in those countries. You know, it's basic economics. Tom, a black dude wrote a book all about it.
Wait a second. You're saying it's a crime that we're not investing in Africa because there's so many folks that would probably love to work and be able to bring economy and stability to many of those places?
You know who is investing in Africa? I'll tell you who is. The fucking Chinese are. The Chinese are all over the motherfucking place, dude. They're moving right up in there.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we don't even have to ship our own people over there like China's doing. You know, just literally, it creates tons of jobs for local Africans. It helps improve their economy. I don't fucking economic investments is the way to go. You know, subsidizing shit that's, you know, giving them free shit and not expecting them to do any work, versus giving them money and letting them problem solve and figure this shit out on their own. You know, and if they make profit,
what could go wrong with just giving people money?
Well, it's not just giving people money, it's expecting a financial return if they do succeed. You know, calculations, probabilities, which company is going to succeed over the other. You know, it's, you know, I don't want to say there's formulas, but there are philosophies along these lines, economic philosophies. Are there formulas?
There are actually. It's capital investment. It's basically calculus. It's one of the few facets of math that I actually kind of understand after the 6th grade. That and nuclear physics. Other than that, I'm lost, dude.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah, if I ever run across calculus, I'm calling you, because it looks like fucking
hieroglyphs. No, dude, unless it's got a dollar sign or like an atomic energy yield, I can't figure it out.
Cool. So you wanna come over to my house and we'll build a cold fusion reactor really quick?
Yeah,
you don't have the fucking mats.
I want to get quantum with you.
oh, cabbage. We'll go quantum later, or maybe in the past. Ooh.
Oh.
So that'll be forever.
We're going down the wormhole now.
Okay, MC, why are we wrong about helping out these poor countries, but it should be private individuals, not governments?
Why do you think these individuals sit up there and wanted to do this? What they were doing, and this is exactly what Al Gore was counting on, is he was counting on the state to impose these mandatory standards that he would then live off of, because it'd be forcing everybody to go and utilize his product. That's what his plan was. You think that he would have gotten any investment by any of these rich people? No, they were planning on making the governments basically mandate this, and because they were mandating it on people, they would have to be forced to invest in these companies, forced to actually utilize their product line. That's what they were doing. And there's no way that these companies, these countries, if this was going to happen, if these Greens were really serious, why aren't they going down there and taking care of this? Why isn't Greenpeace running down there to do this shit?
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? I mean,
because
that's
it isn't about that. They can say that it's about that, but with these leftists, it has nothing to do with it. It's communism uber alles, and as long as you can use the Greens to push that agenda, fine. But if it's actually when push comes to shove, they don't give a shit about the green energy. They don't care about green planets at all. It's all a farce.
Is communism uber allism a technical technique or a term?
It's that
because I kind of like.
I think it's that. I think it's isn't it? I think it's a sexual. It's in the Kama Sutra.
Is it at the end of the wormhole?
Jesus Christ. I don't know. I've never fucked a worm.
Wait, what?
Cabbage is the closest to interspecies sex on something we've had.
So you've done the ancestry.
Ancestry.com. Oh yeah.
I bet cabbage is related to the fucking God, yeah, joke fell already. Oh, Jack the Ripper. No, joke already fell apart. It wasn't quick on it.
Hey, that would make me royal.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain the lettuce, though.
Well, you don't have to explain lettuce. It's just lettuce.
It's actually a fungus.
Oh, my God.
All right. Well, we can move on from climate change if you'd like. MC posted some good stuff in the Redeye stream. 40, you want to pick one of those and read a little bit of it?
Oh, I already know which one I want to pick. Hold on. Let me just get it up real quick. Oh, fuck. I need to delete all my global warming volcano tabs. I looked up
over here with real books, and you got volcanoes on your screen.
I looked up a bunch of shit that I thought was going to come up and ended up not coming up. All right, so this...
Yeah.
You going to compare volcanic production of CO2 in the atmosphere?
Yeah, the aerated sulfates, or aerated sulfurs that refraction of science.
We did bring that up. Oh well, no, was that before the stream? But we did bring up Krakatoa. No, that was early, wasn't it? That was early.
Yeah, that was before show.
Yeah, that was. No, it's okay. All right, so this is fucking amazing. MC found he found the golden ticket here. So this is from CBS local. This is out of Los Angeles. The headline says, "Rapper issues crypt alert for Kanye, warns West to quote stay in Oh, sorry, I've never seen that. Calabasas after supporting Trump." So, a former member of Snoop Dogg's rapping entourage is calling for gang members to assault Kanye West for his recent support of Donald Trump. Daz Dillinger, who recorded several successful hip-hop records as part of That Dog Pound duo in 1990s, made the apparent threat in a video posted to his Instagram, in which he later removed. This says the video's here, but I don't see it. All right,
it's on the webpage. It is on the webpage, and they do play it. It's pretty out there. I mean, it's like basically if you come to California, we're gonna kill you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So so it says here, quote, "Yo, national alert. All the Crips out there, y'all fuck Kanye up," he said, referring to the infamous Los Angeles area street gang. Dillinger, whose real name is Delmar Drew Annard, also warned West to stay out of Long Beach in California, even though the Wests famously live in upscale Calabasas in the Northwest San Fernando. Fucking, I hate all these Mexican names. Fernando Valley. Better not see you in concert. Better not see you around the LBC. Better not see you around California, he says in the video. Stay in Calabasas, ya hear me? Cause we got a crip alert for yo, Kanye. A message reading "fuck Kanye up" was also posted on Dillinger's verified Twitter account. Oh my. Wow. Dillinger's posts were an apparent reaction to West for his recent and perhaps unexpected online support of Donald Trump. So there we go. Oh, this actually is interesting. There's plenty of reaction from celebrities across social media, including rappers Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, YG, Nipsey Hussle, fucking Jesus Christ, who shared the image in a recent performance on Washington, D.C., captioned picture speaking 1,000 words. Oh my god, I'm just gonna stop talking. So they're gonna kill Kanye. We have to protect our
okay. No, first off, before all the laughter, which I already started, my apologies. Let's be real. Ask Biggie Smalls what happens when rappers start fucking shouting shit like that. I'm just saying, there is a history of them actually going through with it, because most of them are felons.
It's all about their reputation, mate. Come on, it's reputation. If they can get him, then that's it, right? They get themselves.
There's one important thing we're missing. Hashtag dragon energy.
Yeah, that was a stupid thing to say.
They got the Crip juice, and he's got the dragon energy. They're pick your teams.
Why is it these people on the West Coast, and they I don't know what Hollywood people or whatever, and they go for tiger blood or dragon on the West fire Coast. And shit.
That shit.
Well, I'm saying you're all batshit crazy, is what I'm saying. Why would he put that in there? I mean, he already knows about what happened with Charlie Sheen when he started talking about his tiger blood.
Oh, that's long enough ago. Nobody but us.
Wait a second. No, it's the ingredients for the ultimate spell. We have tiger blood. We have dragon energy. We need at least one more component.
Holy shit. Yeah, the Illuminati is giving us.
Yeah, so all they got to do is get into a gangbang and the world is going to be fixed.
What? No, you from Jackie Chan go, you mo guai guai fai di zao, you mo guai guai fai di zao.
No, you got to turn them into a human centipede, and then the energy will be released.
the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I mean, isn't that where it ends up?
This is why we can't have nice things, Cabbage.
Look, there's a cabbage on the floor. Like, no, you ever seen Ted, with the hookers taking a shit on the floor?
I was accused of being lettuce earlier. I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not lettuce. That's true. No, but I mean, seriously, this could really, he could get shot.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he could. And this is the thing: that really is a problem because it would be a reputation thing. I mean, there's loads of people who assassinate somebody just so they can get their name in the history books. John Lennon's killer, whoever the fuck he was.
But what if Kanye's packing and somebody goes to attack him and he accidentally kills another person?
Well, don't forget, he's got armed bodyguards too.
Oh, yeah.
So it wouldn't necessarily have to be him.
Well, but that's not going to stop them from having a gang fight right there, where multiple people are firing back and forth.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they did it in a concert just to create a kind of panic, to cause people to stampede and kill even more. That's what you're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
These are thugs. They've been thugs their entire lives, and they see no reason to change because they got rich being thugs.
That's true. There's no doubt about it. I mean, in actual fact, if anything, you could say that that's the equivalent of saying fire in a theater. Like getting people to.
You mean starting to shoot up a theater? That sounds like a terrorist attack, man.
Well, let's talk about this for just another second. Is there anybody here that doesn't think that this comment wasn't or isn't a credible threat?
No,
I believe it's a credible threat.
It's inflammatory at the least.
Which one and what type of account did it come from?
It came from a guy who was in the Crips, and he made his money in the 90s, which means he faded away. He's probably pretty bitter about that. And also, he's probably still in the gang life because he faded away at the height of, he made like 2 albums, made a bunch of money, and went away. He's still a gangster, dude.
So if he's publicly wanted, why is he actively tweeting on Twitter?
I'm not saying he's wanted. You think all gangbangers are wanted?
Well, no, you said he kind of disappeared, so I wasn't sure if he was hiding low. Actually, statute of limitations might be up, yeah.
I don't know that. I just know he made a shitload of money in the 90s, which means it was at the height of gangster rap. It was at the height of the criminal element coming into the actual business. And make no doubts about it, I like West Coast rap and shit from that time period. But Suge Knight was a fucking thug. Isn't he still in prison again? I mean, these people were not the cream of the crop when it comes to their communities.
Are they really gonna go out of their way to murder Kanye West over a tweet?
Why'd they kill Biggie Smalls over a song?
I
he didn't shoot Tupac. I mean,
there's artistic effort that goes into a song versus just kind of writing shit on Twitter, right?
So if you're an artist, it's free seasons on artists. Is that what it is? So if an artist doesn't, you don't like it.
I like to believe we still had free speech at some
just
point.
Just take them out and put a bullet in their head.
Well, no.
What you're saying
saying
basically is Dankula. They went light on Dankula. They just put a bullet in his skull.
Hold on, MC. I think you're looking at this. I think you're looking at this a little too grim, right? See, you sacrifice one Dankula, but you get rid of one whole California.
Do the ends justify the memes?
It's a
what I'm saying, you still have free speech. You're allowed to say what you want. What I'm saying, though, if Kanye comes up dead, this motherfucker's going to jail for at least a fucking questioning or two.
Well, they're never going to trace it back to him. It'll be, some random group of 3 or 4 dudes will end up taking the fall.
They'll never trace
South
it.
Los Angeles or something.
I thought you meant they wouldn't trace it back to his verified Twitter account. I was like, what?
Oh, no. I'm talking actually pull the trigger kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Happens. And anyway, like I said, it'll be by association because that's the whole point, right? The guy's not saying he's going to do it himself. He's calling for other people to do it on his behalf, right? Because he's upset. So he's looking, release the minions.
Don't you mean hounds?
Well, Minions. No, I think Minions is more appropriate.
Oh, I was thinking Mr. Burns.
There's a currency exchange memes.
No, that's fair. Minions is more applicable. I'm sorry.
Minions. No, release the
Stuck in the
Minions.
90s.
Yeah, because they're cute, you know, and then you could turn it into a Disney fucking cartoon.
But memes, you don't think that this is a credible threat?
The death of
Oh, it
Kanye.
absolutely could be. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's just. I mean,
and he should be arrested and put in jail.
What was the seriousness? How does it? I mean, again, I ain't a judge. I'm just some dude on the internet, and it sounds very harsh, but it also sounds like
that's not harsh. It's a threat by somebody who actually is in that gang lifestyle. You can't say that this is not a credible threat, and this guy shouldn't be serving time.
Or is he just some dude on the internet with a verified Twitter now?
That's fair. I was making certain assumptions. I don't know the man. Fair enough.
I think that this is a credible threat.
I do. Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, even if it's not a credible threat, it's certainly, you know, inflammatory.
Well, I'm wondering why a certain ex-rapper just hanging out on the internet, why would he throw out Crips if he wasn't still in the life? I would point that out. I have a reason to make my assumption.
Why would anybody say anything referencing anything on the internet?
Oh, that's true. Shit. That's always the argument that neutralizes any other.
Well, he would say it because he was affiliated with them still, or in the past, which he was for sure in the past.
Well,
I can look up his.
Someone would say it as an intimidating factor, as a method of the past, because I've had folks use similar things like many years ago, and when I look back on it now, I'm like, well, I think they were just full of shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, who's not to say that, you know, there's someone in this dude's entourage that, you know, knows a couple people in the area. You know, it's
look, there's always somebody who wants to make a name for themselves. That's really all it takes, especially in those sort of, you know, environments.
Well, yeah. Why did
credibility is key?
The fucking guy that died, that was a rapper with Eminem. That wasn't that long ago. He got shot. I mean, this is the lifestyle that they come out of. When you want to talk about grassroots, that's the grassroots of hip hop, is the urban gang lifestyle.
Isn't it usually from somebody that really fucks them over, though?
How do you mean?
Like, I think
a lot of gangs, at least
basically, you just gotta.
Well, they don't really seem to be going around just murdering arbitrary people. It's usually, well, somebody didn't pay up, somebody like murdered so and so. They were on our turf. Like,
yeah, but no, you're talking
about.
You're talking about
trying to justify
the Italian cartels. No, that's like the Italian, you know, the old
I'm just
idea.
Saying, going after Kanye West for tweeting something like that seems like a pretty silly reason.
Well, yeah, it may be silly, but don't forget somebody shot John Lennon. That was a pretty fucking silly reason.
Yeah, somebody also shot somebody that they thought was Donald Trump, but he was the UPS guy.
There you go. So, you know, people can do stupid things, but if they think they're going to get a reputation from it, especially in a gang environment where it is going to be credits, you know, they're going to get some kudos.
Oh, yeah, the motherfucker that popped Kanye West, yeah, he'll be living it up in prison.
Yeah.
He goes to the right one, he'll even be a hero.
Oh my!
But like I said, that's why it's dangerous, because it is inflammatory, and there is going to be someone who's out there who's mentally unstable enough to actually act upon it, you know, because they think that it's going to get them some respect, and it's probably somebody who's like really downtrodden and beaten by the, you know, the gang or whatever. So it's like, fuck you guys, I'll prove myself to you, and they'll go out on their own and just do it, you know. Hey, look, I proved myself.
I tend to think it's going to be more of a poor schmuck that's trying to make a name for himself that's going to be gunned down by Kanye's bodyguards.
Well, I think that's more than likely, yeah. But, you know, I'm saying that the whole point is that he is under more... I mean, he's in more jeopardy now than he would have been had that dickhead not put that shit out there. Right? Somebody actually... That was an inflammatory comment to write. I mean, he's calling for other people to do it. He's not just saying, I'm going to do it. He's saying... I'm calling upon my, you know, my brothers to come and, you know, join the fight against Kanye. Christ's sake. I mean, I'm not even a fan of his music particularly, but yeah.
That seems a
It's
pretty
nuts.
bad
It's like-
reason to shoot somebody, though.
Yeah.
As
You think?
opposed to the good reason, like I'm robbing your house,
Well,
I want
self-defense.
to bang your wife. I mean, there's a lot of bad reasons for shooting people.
So let me ask you this: what if, and let's play a 5D chess scenario here. If Donald Trump were to appoint Kanye West as the head of the My Brother's Keeper program, a program that was instituted by President Obama as an outreach and a helping of like the black community and young people. They're usually black.
Another more government largesse, more government dole to keep the black people subservient.
Well, it was already created. I have no idea if President Trump ended it or not.
So let's keep the black people poor. Let's keep them, totally on the government dole, so they can never get ahead.
Oh, it sounds like a Boys and Girls Club to me.
Okay, and how good are the Boys and Girls Club? How effective have they been?
I don't know. I have friends that work there, and
walk around and
it makes
say,
a difference to the kids.
Wonderful. Oh yeah, well, and it makes a difference to the kids. So they stop going to gangs. Oh. Gangs are now becoming less and less.
Maybe they're less likely, or maybe they have a better chance at success. I don't know.
Yeah, historically, the data doesn't show that, though, does it?
Oh, it could be a hell of a lot better. Absolutely. How do we do it, though? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Could be, I don't know, disciplining people when they're frickin' in the 5-year-olds.
Could they do that there? I don't know. Would we have to change culture?
Yeah, you're going to have to change people's attitudes towards schools, which means when the little crumb bum is acting like a little wannabe thug when he's 5 and 6 years old, and he's acting up in schools, you kick him out. So the rest of the kids will go, wait a minute here, I don't want to get kicked out because mommy will get mad at me.
Or you could have them do team sports and learn like some camaraderie and some discipline and stuff.
Team sports, you mean things like dodgeball that have been banned out of every freaking school?
Well,
What do you want for team
Dodgeball.
sports? Frickin' tiddlywinks?
I like Connect Four.
No, you can't have tiddlywinks because they could.
We're gonna have sports today, everybody. But we know that sprinting is bad because some people, they can't participate because they've got difficulties breathing, and some of them have spina bifida. So for sports today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have Crayola races. Who can draw the fastest?
MC is football.
Oh no, you're disqualified. You drew a gun.
MC, is football going to exist in a decade?
No.
No. You know what we need to do? We need to subsidize beatings with belts. That's a government program I would be for.
Yeah. Switch taxes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
you just had a tough upbringing. It's okay, little black boy. It's okay that you're acting like a thug. We understand. You just can't help it. Go out there and rape the girl over there. She'll understand because she's black too.
Jesus, the prophet of Nazareth, didn't appreciate being flailed.
Go and rape her because she's white, and she'll just feel, guilt for being white. So that's okay.
The white ones only feel guilty when the Muzzies actually do the raping.
Okay, all right. That's enough.
Speaking of hypothetical felonies.
Okay. Since you already kind of went down this road, let's talk a minute about the porn star. Now, why is she suing Donald Trump for defamation now? Does she just want to sue the president and be in the limelight a little bit longer? This is ridiculous.
She's suing because her career as a porn star is over because she's old and ugly. So she needs enough money to tide her over so she can sell her child to the porn industry.
Have you seen pictures of her?
Yes.
Yeah, she's not hot. She looks worn out. She really does.
I think she's an attractive, smart woman.
Well, that's why you got to watch the older stuff, you guys. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm saying she's worn.
Unlike me, most of us aren't into grandpa porn.
Grandpa?
Grandpa? Oh, well.
Freudian slip. Shh. Don't say a word.
MC, I think you gave us a little insight there.
No. That goes into Mr. Medicus.
I was I was hoping he would continue because it would give me a new job opportunity sometime going in the future.
Well. I mean, well. Here's the thing. Absolutely. Well, why is she suing the president of the United States? Well, because she can sue the president of the United States and get a bunch of free publicity. And to be fair, she can make the claim that he is defaming her. Because remember, initially, when she was on Jimmy Kimmel or whoever it was, when he presented the signature, she said, that does not look like my signature initially. And now it's like, well, I did sign that document. By not saying it wasn't, by saying it doesn't look like, she can claim ignorance in the eyes of the law. And now she actually was part of it. She can go after Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump was part of the NDA, he can claim he's still part of the NDA.
No, you're ignoring the fact that previously she had said absolutely not, that she had never slept with him.
Oh, did she say that?
Yes.
When she was was or was not bound by the NDA?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter because she's bound by the NDIA. She can deny it, like the president's currently doing.
I hate to tell you this, but you cannot lie. When you've got an NDA, the NDA does not give you a license to lie. The NDA just says that you're not supposed to talk about it.
Okay, and in order to avoid talking about it,
you say, I can't talk about it. I've got an NDA.
Yeah, but then infers guilt.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, but the difference is she didn't say, according to the NDA, I can neither affirm or deny that, that accusation. But she said no.
Doesn't she?
So that is a clear.
Has been violated now, and her story has changed after she said the NDA has been violated.
That's what I mean. So, and the thing is that if it happened before the NDA doesn't apply. So anything she says prior to the NDA, is outside of the NDA's, remit.
Is it?
Yes, of course it is. Because the NDA, laws are not retrospective. Unless it was signed into the NDA, it was meant to be retrospective. I'm not saying she's a lawyer. I'm just saying that, laws, unless it was signed, unless she signed it saying that I will not retrospectively mention something that she knows she's already mentioned, that would be fucking retarded.
Did you see her police sketch of the perp?
What?
Oh
yeah, dude! It looked like me without a beard. It was terrifying.
It looked like her. If you see a picture of that, if you see that a side-by-side picture of that and her ex-husband, they look identical.
She has very good taste, then.
Oh.
So her case.
Only when you take your beard off.
Who can threaten my life? And those are the guys she goes out with. Old baby, that's hot. Beat me some more.
Well, not in
you never know. You never know, MC.
Devastating, dangerous archetype. Like sometimes
chicks can get weird.
It's not an untrue statement. Well, we're fucking weirdos.
At which point, how is she being defamed then?
Because it's convenient to sue the president of the United States while he's in office because she gets a bunch of free publicity. MC, I'm not denying that part at all. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be convenient if she could use the NDA and it's changing
using this to try to get free money so that she can sit up there and subsidize her life for just a little bit longer until she can sell her kid to the freaking porn industry?
Yeah. MC, again, that's a great talking point too. I hear you, man. It sounds great, but it's just, when
it happens, what are you going to be doing?
Oh, I have no idea. I'll probably be jerking off watching her or something. But
God damn it!
I'm just saying, man. Like,
solid response.
Do you believe that Donald John Trump and Miss Daniels spent a night together?
I have no idea. Okay. I honestly have no idea, and I don't care.
Well, I don't really care either. I can absolutely see it.
Yeah, and right there, I'd like to point out.
I don't care enough to invest the time to actually try and investigate it to find out how verifiable her claims are.
Well, Straight Sith Male said in the chat, and I think it fits perfectly right here. Why does Bubba Bill, as he put it, or President Clinton, get a fucking free pass, and Donald Trump gets ran through the coals? Almost worse. Come on,
Clinton did end up getting impeached, so I wouldn't say he got away with,
Yeah,
He
that's
got away
fair.
with it in the
That's
press
wrong.
because he should have been. He was impeached for the crimes, not getting a freaking
right.
blowjob.
You're right.
Yeah, but
I'm
the
talking
blowjob
more
was
about
the,
in the
you know, kind of
press
how it
and
kicked
in the
off, wasn't
court.
it?
No, it wasn't how it got kicked
Well,
off. The
no,
problem
sorry,
was
no,
that
it was
he lied
before
under
that.
oath.
Yeah.
The problem that he had was is that
I
he
did not
lied
have
under
sex
oath
with that woman.
to avoid the appearance because he was afraid of how this was all going to play out. This was
Cabby
right
screwed
after.
himself.
This
No, he
was
just
right
said- no,
after he had
No, he
gotten.
didn't say that, Cabby.
Hold
He
on.
didn't. Okay, sorry.
He had. This was all because they had just gotten rid of a Republican senator who was an annoyance to them by claiming sexual harassment.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I get that. I do. I was only being kind of facetious.
No,
with that.
Cabby. No. He did not say I did not have sex with that
Sexual
woman. He
relation.
said that.
No, he said I don't have
relations,
sexual
dude.
relations.
Why
I
did he
didn't
have to say it that way? If he just said sex, some
Well.
folks maybe could have given him a pass, even though he's an attorney and he should have known better. But
It had nothing to do with that. The whole
Yeah,
thing
but-
came about because he had told freaking Monica Lewinsky to lie, and Monica Lewinsky was telling all
Yeah.
her friends to lie for her under oath.
And there was also, what was the woman's name from California? What was her name?
Oh, there's a number.
Bitch,
people.
fine.
Fiber boxer.
Crazy. Look at this. All the names suddenly pop out. Shit, I was only thinking of one. I didn't realize there was that many. Christ.
There were women all over the place.
It was like, no,
What?
it began with L, I think, the name that I'm thinking of. No, that was obviously Lewinsky. Maybe it's
Lewinsky
Mox.
was.
I don't know. It was a
Lewinsky
blonde.
from.
Paula Jones.
It was a blonde woman. Paula Jones, that's the one.
Paula
Yeah.
Jones was from Arkansas, not.
Oh, was it Arkansas? Sorry. Okay.
But no,
Mind you,
Paula
yeah.
Jones launched a civil suit against the President of the United States, Bill Clinton. And
That's
in
right.
one of
There
the
was
worst rulings ever by the U.S. Supreme Court, that was 9-0. They said this will not impact the office of the presidency, so this lawsuit could go forward. At which point they started deposing things. And what Paula Jones's lawyers were trying to establish is that he had a pattern of behavior doing this stuff. So they of course had heard rumors about Ms. Lewinsky, and Ms. Lewinsky got interviewed, at which point she lied because Bill Clinton, who claimed he had never had anything to do with this while he was president of the United States, told her to lie. And then she went and started telling other people, well, if they ask you about our relationship, you lie too. Problem is that one of her quote unquote friends had a security clearance and was worried about her job and recorded the conversation.
Nice.
And then set this whole thing in motion. First, that went straight to Janet Reno. Janet Reno, of course, said, this is a hot potato. I ain't touching this, and threw it to Ken Starr, who was doing a series of other things that the Clintons had been involved with. And all of this came out, multiple freaking felonies being committed by the President of the United States. And what did the press do? They did everything they could to say, oh, it's just about sex. It's just about sex. It has nothing to do with his private life. Oh, this is just secret.
Oh, well, don't forget, they did the same thing with the, what was it, Whitewater, whatever it was called, scandal, the Rose Law firm.
The Rose Law firm thing. There was that. There was the FBI records that had Hillary Clinton's all fingernails all over it, where they were freaking basically taking the FBI files to create an enemies list to say this is for how they were doing things. These people have been so dirty from the word go, and yet everyone wants to go, oh, it was just about sex. You got freaking sex in there. Oh, it was just about sex. No, it was about crimes, improvable crimes, and you turned a blind eye. And then you got people like H.A. Goodman talking about how great Bernie was. And he just sold out just now. Oh, really? You want to see something? Go take a look at Bernie and when he was on the House floor as a congressman, about how he was claiming, oh, this is just about sex. They're just trying to railroad this good man, Bill Clinton. But Bernie's an upstanding guy, isn't he?
No, he's a fucking couch surfer.
So MC, I had a coach in high school for football, and he had this vein that ran through his forehead into his nose, and when he would get really pissed off, it would start throbbing. I'm just curious how your vein is doing.
It's fine.
He's got a throbbing vein, but it's not necessarily.
Because I was going to say there wasn't even an argument there. You're very passionate.
I'm just sick and tired of listening to the excuses, because one of the other excuses that people used at that time frame was people were going around going, well, how's your 401k doing?
That's a good
Like, this is
distraction.
an excuse for criminal behavior by the President of the United States. And people wonder why the Justice Department is as corrupt as it is. People wonder why the FBI is as corrupted as it is right now. When the American people with their representatives turn a blind eye to criminal behavior, when the quote unquote conscience of the Senate, Mr. Lieberman, that everyone says was the conscience of the Senate, knowing that these crimes were taking place, it was obvious to everybody that these crimes said, well, I just don't want to convict him, so I'm going to vote no.
But it felt good.
Yeah, it felt really freaking good, doesn't it?
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Still think the whole dress thing I just found, quite weird, that somebody would have a dress for like several weeks, with a cum stain on it and not do anything about it.
That is
She
very
was
true.
saving it as a memento. What do you expect from Californians?
That's true. Sick bastards. Maybe she was going to make a soup when she got enough of them. I don't know, just spitballing here. Oh God,
Is this a little too harsh for people?
Is it weird that in 2018 I see an MSNBC article on Twitter that's basically saying Senator Mitch McConnell announces a new act focusing on helping people who are recovering from opioid addiction get a job. It looks to be like he's in a very favorable light and he's actually in a busy pose, as opposed to looking like the universal sign for a turtle.
And you'll probably come out saying that he had an Oxycontin addiction or something.
Well, I don't know. I know he has a very lovely young wife, but no, the thing is, it's like hasn't him and Trump.
In that case, she's got the Oxycontin addiction.
Oh, whatever. No, but hasn't he and President Trump been sparring for a while?
About what?
Like anything, everything.
The moon
Congress
base,
in general?
MC, the moon base.
No, that was Newt Gingrich.
Yeah, that was not him.
But no, I'm just saying it's very interesting because now you're watching more of the quote-unquote left-wing media treating a lot of Republicans in a favorable light for some issues that we tend to agree on. 5D chess?
How widely spread is it? How widely spread do you think that's going to be?
Oh, I have no idea. It just sounds like a good idea.
No, you see, the thing is, I mean, people want to put this all down to, like Trump is creating this. It isn't. This is what existed to begin with. People were so sick and tired of dealing with liberal cretins, Yeah, people just got sick and tired of having to kowtow to people and tell them that they're sorry for, misgendering them or something. No, people just want to actually just get on with their lives. And so when somebody says, how would you like a degree of freedom? Most people are going to go for it. Freedom's an extremely appealing option,
So basically what you're saying is that the press, surprise, surprise, is happy about another governmental program that wastes money.
No doubt.
As long as federal money is being spent, they're on board.
Well, it depends how you can spin it. Depends how you can spin it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is probably as good as time as any to wind down here. I only really want to go 2 hours today. I got some stuff I have to do. But I do want to give a shout out to Talking Thrones. If you like Game of Thrones, it's a good Game of Thrones lore type channel. He really digs into both the books and the TV show. That's where I got my new mic that I'm using today. He sent me a blue snowball. It's actually pretty bad.
Crackling like shit. Crackling like hell.
That's my internet connection. Not the mic.
That's not his microphone. That's his internet connection.
Okay.
And it's not that a program to help people get off of addiction or to help people find jobs is necessarily a bad thing. But we are so far in debt to create another freaking spending program. It's time we reduced other programs first and then realign this stuff to this kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely,
rather than just pull up another one out of their ass and say, well, this will help people, because it may and it may not. And considering how it's probably going to end up being administered, it's probably not, because the government doesn't help people; it helps itself.
Well, no, social programs are fine, but you just got to pay for them.
Why are social programs fine?
Yeah.
But the thing is, a social program should give some return. I mean, that's the whole point, right? You're meant to be. It's meant to be an investment, so you expect a return on investment, and that's the problem. Most of these social programs are just giveaways. There is no intention of getting anything out of it.
Isn't that just out of laziness? And
yes, of course. But,
okay.
Without saying.
It's not when you say laziness. It's not out of laziness. It's out of the fact that people are giving people money with an evil intent. It's all couched in, we're trying to help people, but what it's really.
I disagree with the evil intent. Is there a high profit motive? Absolutely.
No, it's not with a high profit motive. It's a profit motive of, I keep getting elected because I keep these people freaking stuck on the lowest rungs if possible.
Oh, so yes, that's because there's no off-ramp.
Largesse.
Why do you think minimum wages were introduced? Or living wage, whatever they want to call it. That does nothing. You increase the living wage by 20%. If you increase everybody's social security by 20%, great. You've got about a week before the market adapts to the pricing structure. You know what I mean? So grab it while you can, because you'll end up in the same situation as you were before. It'll just be relatively higher because of the market prices. That's how it works. All you end up doing every time they introduce these things, all you end up doing is increasing inflation. And then, who is going to feel the effect of that? It's going to actually be the people with the least amount of money every time.
Well, absolutely. And if my mic's good enough to at least wrap up, thank you, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and end it. The noise level is going to pick up drastically here in a minute, so I need to end it before it does. Any last thoughts? Take that as a no. All right, this has been the Redeye Stream number 112. We talked a bit about climate change and devolved into other topics. Good night and good luck. Please like and subscribe if you like the content.